and because of the ease of linking up internationally, that I can sit in a studio in Paris and go on live on NDTV in Delhi via a screen. The other guests are sitting there with her, and I come in on a screen because I'm far away and participate in this, commenting on the U.S. president's visit. Though this is perfect Mira Kamdar, it's U.S., France, and India all coming together. Mainly to illustrate that point that how do I get to go on Barkadat NDTV for something like the U.S. presidential visit is because of all these things that I've done over the years leading up to that have created my network and that have created my brand, and what I do to maintain that. Putting up the Valentine's Day thing within an hour of getting the email with the link so that it's current, okay? So that's my main point about that. Now, I'm scared if I do this I'm going to go back to, I won't be on my site. Sorry. I can just hear my teenage children say, "Mom, you're so lame." I want to talk a little bit about print after this, and then maybe we'll come back to broadcast media and talk a little bit about, as part of what we discussed on the panel that Todd mentioned that we did, not just at Columbia, it was at the Columbia School of Journalism, our panel. So about the coverage of the 9/11 thing. Because, the other thing is that even though I have messages I want to get across, and I'm about to share with you a 5-piece article that I did for Slate magazine on the agricultural crisis in India. And I talked to Saimat actually about this piece. And I write a lot about these issues that matter to me in order to have a platform to have what I write about those issues that I think are important. I have to maintain a certain level of very minor, in my own little way, celebrity to have that platform, which means that I have to participate, in fact, in this commodification. Do you know that word? Commodification? What does it mean? It's a big word.
Making a product out of yourself.
Sorry?
Making a product out of something.
Right. I mean, I'm a brand. I'm a product, right? And I am bought and sold, as it were. I mean, if these networks put me on, it's because they think that audiences will appreciate what I have to say. They'll recognize me and everything, and I become part of. Wow, you went right to it. Great, thanks. And I become part of the spectacle that the news has become these days. There is a line where the news is giving out information about something that's important for people to know. And we talk about journalism being the fourth estate, journalism being a very important part of what democracy is, in order to have access to information and free speech and citizens informed about what their governments are doing and citizens informed about what's going on. That's the critical role of journalism in a democracy, right? But there's a line that's often crossed or blurred between that function of informing and the function of entertaining or titillating. We have what's called yellow journalism. What's yellow journalism? What does that mean?
Some stories which are not basically, does not have news content. It's more to do with sensationalism and disturbing privacy.
Yeah, it's like sensationalistic, right? Go ahead.
That's it, something which is very little news value, but might interest someone because
Any yellow journalism in India?
Oh, India TV. It's the brand of yellow journalism.
That's the brand of Indian journalism.
Yellow journalism.
Yellow journalism. Okay. I remember when Tehelka did their first sting operation. You all must have been very young when they did the first sting operation with George Fernandez, which got the paper into a lot of trouble. The paper was virtually shut down for 3 years, and Felipe was able to slowly get the paper going again. And then everybody in India was doing stings, right? And it's become a big thing now, you know, the sting operation, because it's very sensationalistic and you feel like you're, you know, in on something secret and you get in there, but it's very sensationalistic. Even at a lesser level, even in that report that you saw that I did commenting on Obama, I am participating in a spectacle, in a news spectacle. I really am. I feel that way at least, that there's a part of what I'm doing that is legitimate analysis, that is legitimately sharing a point of view that could be useful or illuminating, but there's also a part of it where I am participating in the spectacle. I can't just look in the old way. I do have to put on a little makeup because of the camera. You know, I even put on a little makeup. I put on a little powder today because I knew I was being filmed, and I do so much television. But it's just an automatic thing. I do so much television. I know that if I don't put on powder, your skin gets shiny and it doesn't look good on the camera. These little things that you learn, you know. So you are part of the spectacle, and this is something that is. It's a constant question, I think, for anyone who's involved, especially in television journalism, at any level. Are you crossing that line? Where are you crossing that line? You know, at what point are you being too much spectacle and too little legitimate journalism? And it's a very, very, very blurry line. You don't have any ugly TV anchors, right? Do you have any fat, old news reporters on any of the networks?
Just me. I told you yesterday, I said, you don't have to be good looking on television, and I'll proof of it.
All right, well, one thing you're going for you in that regard, I mean, we could dispute your vision of yourself, Todd. But the one thing you have going for you is your gender, because I guarantee you, if you might be able to get away with not being young and trim and attractive as a male, you can't as a female. Okay, so it becomes more and more difficult. Now, it's very different, of course, in print, because in print it doesn't matter what you look like, and in print you have a lot more opportunity to delve more deeply into something and to really present a longer argument, especially if you're doing long form. If you're doing a little opinion, of course you have very limited space. But if you're doing a more long form, investigative kind of piece, have you all heard of the expression investigative reporting? What is that? What's investigative reporting?
The reporter sets out to find out the stuff by themselves and not relying on police or someone else.
Well, you might have to interview the police.
Yeah.
You might have to read documents.
When the reporter doesn't have any other way to find out about a story, so he gets in, probably pretends to be someone else and then investigates the story himself.
That's more of a sting. If you pretend to be someone else, you're doing a sting.
Basically expose the story, like something that nobody knows about.
Pursue the story by meeting different people and finding out more about it and then writing it.
It really means there's a story and it seems like more is going on than what it appears. What is really going on? What's behind the story? What's making the story happen? Who are the people involved? What are their motivations? What are the financial stakes? What are the political stakes? You know, this kind of thing, okay? So, that kind of investigative reporting, investigative journalism. And now here's a piece that I did, a 5-part article series for a major online magazine in the United States called Slate. Slate is owned by the Washington Post Group. It's a serious online magazine.